Now, attacks in Mozambique have spread to the Niassa province and across the border into Tanzania. 5 months ago, foreign soldiers went to help Mozambique battle the local insurgency in the northern province of Cabo Delgado. Now, rebels have set fire to dozens of homes with many people seeking refuge. Let's get the latest now as we look at that situation there with the Institute for Security Studies. I'm joined by Willem Els. Willem, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. It looks like the efforts by the Rwandans, the SADC troops that include South African soldiers, and of course the Mozambican army to stop that ongoing conflict in Cabo Delgado is succeeding to calm things in parts of Cabo Delgado, especially around the area of Palma and nearby where those natural gas-rich fields are. And the insurgents are finding operational activity in neighboring Niassa province. So the war is spreading elsewhere.
Good afternoon, Dan. Yeah, you are right. You see what happened in the beginning when the Rwandese went in, they focused on the two areas of Palma and Mozambique prior, where, of course, the Afungi is and all the gas extraction or the preparations for that is. What is a pity is that it seems that they maybe acted too fast, and they did not wait for some forces to be in place in order to form that backstop to block the insurgents once they started to drive them out. Hence, the insurgents now spread right through the whole province of Cabo Delgado, making it very difficult for the summon forces that are very thinly spread in terms of numbers to contain them. And where they got the heat on them, they just moved into the adjacent province of Niassa. That is also incidentally being a hotspot for the Frelimo insurgency due to the vast areas, very sparsely populated areas and very densely bushed areas. You've got lots of forests there, so it's very easy for them to operate there and difficult for some to follow up.
Would it have been possible for before the military offensive began and was joined by these foreign forces, including the Rwandans and SADC, that includes South Africa, to have anticipated that there could be this dispersing of the insurgents from Cabo Delgado to the neighboring province and maybe plan for it, or it's a very difficult situation?
Yes, Dan, you know, hindsight is 2020. We know that initially the cooperation between the Rwandese forces and the Summon forces were not as good. Later on, we saw that they got together and there was some sort of collaboration and cooperation that started to take place. But before the Rwandese actually started to move in, there was not this cooperation that actually led to this situation. It's unfortunate because if we see in the past week that the insurgents moved in a matter of 1 week over 100 kilometers, they burned a lot of villages, they actually abducted more than 100 people as well, taking them into the bushes where they established their bases. So they just moved into that province, and from there they're going to now attack on that province, but also because it's just very close to Cabo Delgado, they might move back across the border as well. And the problem with your summon forces is to cover such a vast area, you need a lot more manpower than what they have at the moment. We know summon has not deployed to their optimum as yet, but we also know that Rwanda has more than doubled their troops on the ground just to protect the areas that they are responsible for.
Yeah, and Tanzania, I mean, just across the river there, Rovuma River, in terms of Cabo Delgado, and I mean, they're part of SADC as well. I mean, in the early stages of this conflict, there were rumors that some of the insurgents have come across. They've got some support and or sympathy from some Islamic communities in Tanzania. But now it looks like they are also caught up in the war slowly and surely.
Yes, you are right. You know, there were quite a few attacks on some of the towns in Tanzania. We know initially that some of these insurgents in the beginning of the insurgent prior to that as well, we saw that some of the young people moved from Tanzania, and also a lot of them were arrested. With the first arrest, there were more than 500 Tanzanians arrested and sent back by the Mozambican government to Tanzania. So there's a lot of involvement from the area. You must also know that the Rovuma River is a very porous border. And you've got families living on both sides of the river. So there's a lot of traffic between the two countries that is not controlled. And these insurgents, obviously, they take advantage of that.
Yeah, Willem, very briefly as we conclude, when the SADC force was put together, I remember President Matamela Ramaphosa writing to our parliament here for the South African component of SADC in terms of the cost and the timing. He was saying, for the next 3 months, they'll be there until October. We are sitting in December now. This looks like it's going to be a long, drawn-out conflict, and South African troops might have to be there on the ground for much longer than originally anticipated. Am I wrong?
Dan, you are right. They will be there. This is not something that will be solved in a matter of months. And I think we can prepare ourselves for several months, if not years, of active engagement there in order to curb the situation. That cannot only be solved on a military side. They will have to address also the grievances, and they need a more holistic approach in order to curb this insurgency.
Yeah, that noise is coming through from Maputo this past weekend, Willem, to say we need a political solution to end that conflict in the northern part of the country. Thank you very much for your time. Willem Els from the Institute for Security Studies.